Sovan can keep a project under control in such a way that it makes life easier for everyone else. His professionalism is only topped by how nice of a guy he is. We had the opportunity to meet him in Dubai, where we were so well received.
We are all privileged to have these colleagues as an inspiration. There are not many engineers with their experience, passion, and attitude.
It is Mr. Sovan Brata Chattopadhyay who is here. He is our guest today. So let me give a brief introduction about Mr. Sovan. Before that, I should say, in my first consultancy project, he was my task leader, under whom we worked together. Mr. Sovan Brata Chattopadhyay is a civil engineering graduate, did his masters from B College Shibpur. He was the topper in masters, and he is the most respected consultant in our engineering consultancy field. So that I am sure. And now I ask Mr. Sovan Brata Chattopadhyay. So he is here.
Thank you, Partha, for calling me for this discussion. I spent about 40 years in this profession in India and especially in the Middle East. I spent about 5 years in Parsons company when I started working in this field, and then 20 years in Stoop Consultant Limited. I was in Stoop Calcutta office, and while I was in Stoop, I spent few years in Sri Lanka, and then in 2008 I went to Middle East. I spent about 2 years in Ecom and then 14 years in KU International. And in 2023, I came back to India, and thereafter I started working as freelance consultant.
So you have a huge experience working in India and abroad, and for 40 years. So that's hard to imagine, 40 years of experience. Thank you, Mr. Sovan. Okay, for the viewers, before we go ahead with our conversation, I should say that our conversation today will be limited to the engineering consultancy, mainly on the infrastructure part, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Sovan. So I have drafted few questions for you.
Yes.
Those may be hard for you also. For the viewers, could you please explain and elaborate the engineering consultancy? And also, it is for the viewers who know the literal meaning of consultancy, but not quite sure how it works and its specifics.
Okay. In simple words, consultancy is quite similar to the profession of a doctor.
Yeah.
That if someone has got some problem in health, he goes to the doctor and the doctor gives medicine and you get cured. And for consultancy also quite similar. People come to a consultant with some vision and with some money in the pocket, a budget. So the consultant has to provide a solution to his expectation, and within his budget, the solution or the creation or the structure, whatever you call it, it should be durable, functional, and most importantly, the client should know the requirement of maintenance and its budget beforehand.
Yeah.
Because it should not happen that once the project is done and the client is spending money which he didn't anticipate, and then he loses confidence. So these are the key issues of a consultancy, success in the consultancy.
Okay. So when you have said the key issues, so trailing that question, I have a question that how this in the consultancy, the cash flow works under this sector of engineering, specific to the engineering consultancy.
You have touched the main point of consultancy. Yes, cash flow is the main thing which keeps everything healthy or sick. And what I have seen that it should happen from the proposal stage. In a consultancy, the proposal should be done by someone who is experienced in the subject, who can really grasp the requirement of the project or what the client is looking for. Saying so, what I want to mean is the client is giving you a tender document. The experienced consultant will review this and will find out that to make it more functional or make it successful, what more needed in the tender document, and he should point those things out. He has to make things in a manner that altogether it works well and makes the client aware that the tender has got these gaps.
Okay.
That is number one. Number two, a consultant should reasonably quote his price, neither high nor low, with a marginal profit or whatever he likes. But in a proposal, there are few things which is very important to make things more transparent right from the beginning. Number one is the deliverables and its time period. The proposal should be very clearly defined and communicate to the client before making a selection of the consultant, is that what kind of delivery will be made and within what period of time. The main reason is client will have the feel that when he is getting his delivery, when he is starting to get the benefit of his investment. Another important thing is there should be a payment schedule, that each delivery, how much will give to the consultant, because the consultant has got his own expense, and all the time he should have some kind of a cushion, positive, so that overall the client spends his whole money, but the whole project or the consultant remains healthy.
Yes.
So these are the basic things of the cash flow. Right from the beginning till the end, it should go like this.
Okay. My next question to you is that, you, as you told, that you have immense experience in consultancy industry, both in India and abroad. So there are many challenges you faced. Broadly on physical challenge and also the engineering challenges. So can you say something on that? And what are your general observations highlighting the work culture and the aspects pertaining to the approaches being adopted in target delivery of an output? First, tell something about your challenges you faced, then we'll come to the next one.
Well, very good question. There are many of such situations that a civil engineer has to come across, but there are some exceptional cases, a few, that only I will mention here. I will give an example that we had a project when I was in Stoop, we had a project in Sri Lanka, and at that time, LTT war was at its peak.
Okay.
And Stoop's consultant's scope was to do the design as well as supervision. Stoop was a very renowned organization, so they did a good design, but then there was nobody to go there. It was a big challenge to place people there in an area where war is going on. So unfortunately, fortunately, I got this opportunity and I had to go to save my job. But honestly speaking, that was one of my golden years in my professional life. Because yes, it was a bit scary, but it's not so dangerous.
Okay.
I walked, I enjoyed, I did a couple of projects, mainly related to cement plant construction. I am sure in India nobody will assign me that job without having a past experience. So this is one example. Another example was that again in Stoop, we had to design a hill road within a virgin forest in Arunachal Pradesh. I spent about 9 days where you have any kind of animal, you say. Dense forest, no villages, no habitat, nothing. And I had to take with me 2 hunters and few porters. And those days there was no mobile phone. Of course, even if you have a mobile phone, it doesn't work in that terrain. That was terrifying, but then it gave me immense experience how it works in a land like that. Another experience is we had a project in Baghdad. I was in Middle East at that time. I got a job in Baghdad. And it was just after Saddam Hussein was down and the country was not stable. If you try to come from your hotel to the airport, you have to cross about, I don't know how many, maybe around 20, 25 army crossing, and where you have to get down from the car, they'll check everything, and it takes hell of a lot of time to commute between that distance. But the most interesting thing is my company, my boss, a British at that time, was not at all willing to send me to Baghdad. But client was very keen to get an engineer because he has to go there and decide about some ground grading, because they wanted to have a very huge multidiscipline development there. And one of our very promising client was asking us to go. I went there, but then I had goosebumps when I signed the insurance, which was, the heading of that was abduction and kidnapping. So the point of saying all these things is that the civil engineers should not, my point is you go there, see it, then you decide whether it is dangerous.
Wow.
And many people I have seen at the face of it say that I will not go, it's dangerous and all that, which is not right, I believe. That is my personal experience. Especially civil engineers has to take these challenges, otherwise he will not get chances of getting great job. So that is one part. Your second question was how the international infrastructure projects differ in respect with India.
Cultural aspect.
Culture, working or engineering. Basically, both engineering, of course, same. There is no difference as such. But they use sophisticated software, which possibly we cannot afford to buy. In every possible opportunity to have better engineering, they invest in software. That is number one. And then there are certain things which really good. For example, say especially if I talk about the infrastructure, say water supply. When we design a water supply network or water supply system, we talk all about modeling and finding out the pipe diameter and a few appliances and just put it in the drawing. But then it is not everything. If you go to the execution, then you need hell of a lot of details, like detail of pipe laying, air valve, washout valve, so many kinds of valves, and all that. Now, I have seen in many Indian projects that if you want to construct a air valve, in the tender document it is not defined that whether the chamber will be concrete or it will be of brick. Then what happens? The consultant starts innovating. That he makes a brickwork, and then the designer who checks his design says, no, it should be concrete. So that kind of debate starts. They start look at code. That kind of delay in work happens. Say for sewerage manhole, a lot of research goes on. You will get rectangular type of manhole, you will get circular type of manhole, you will get brick manhole, you will get concrete manhole. This doesn't happen internationally. How it works? Every utility provider, say for water supply or power or telecom or sewerage, stormwater, whatever you say, they have their own guideline. Of course, that is developed from British guideline or even Indian guideline or whatever. But there is a summary of guideline which is followed by the client, followed by the consultant, followed by the contractor. That is number one. The guidelines are written there. You don't have to run around all the IS codes or British codes or whatever.
That's missing here?
Here, you don't have that compiled thing.
Okay.
Compilation. Yes. For CPHU has done a lot of job in publishing the water supply manual or sewerage manual. But then I have seen in many cases it is not followed. Because the authorities, local authorities prefer to have different kind of design. I have done in RUIDP or Jammu project, ADV projects, I have seen completely different detailing is going on. Why? This is because the utility provider, the municipalities or water bodies, the PHED, they don't have their guideline.
Okay.
I prefer that they should follow this. They should have their own guideline. And also this guideline contains a set of standard drawings. So for manhole, you don't have to decide while you are working, designing. Your time is limited. You don't have to explore those things. Those guidelines are available. The standard drawings are available. That is bigger advantage that you save a lot of time. You have the detail before you and you can follow that. Second advantage is every year the utility providers look at international standards where some improvements is coming up and they update those guidelines.
Okay.
And then it automatically percolates to the consultants and all that. Say, for example, the concrete manhole or the brick manhole is getting obsolete now. It is now a structural GRP manhole. You have a GRP manhole, you just dig the road, put the manhole there and finish it off. There are 2-3 kinds of buoyancy type, non-buoyancy type, where you have subsoil water, you put non-buoyancy type. So the whole technology is changing. So this comes if this kind of culture comes, that every utility should have their guideline, should have their own.
Your point is validating one thing that we normally see in India or this context, Indian subcontinent context. Consultancy time is less, engineering time is less. After when their contractor is failed, so it continues. Maybe there is a lack of standardization of the thing.
That is one thing. And another thing is we waste energy in certain things which is not necessary. We can focus on better engineering, better detailing. I give you a good example of, you will understand more if we talk about master planning.
Yeah.
So when you do master planning, an infrastructure designer has to tell you, the master planner, that I need 4-lane road or 2-lane road, I need divider, I don't need divider, depending on his traffic count or his modeling, traffic modeling and all that. Parallelly, the master planner will ask, what is the plot requirement for a primary substation? Now, since you don't have a standard,
Yeah.
you will look for what should be the primary standard sub. But if you go to Abu Dhabi or if you go to Dubai, they will simply say that it is 60 meter by 60 meter. Because primary substation, the Dubai Electricity Water Authority have a standard drawing, 60 meter by 60 meter, 2-story building, this will be the SCADA room, so all are standardized. So it is helping the master planner to make quick decision. I need 2 or 3 primary substation, they allocate the plot, that's it.
My next question to you. Out of the major factors of success of this consultancy industry is client-consultant relation. I hope you agree. So my question is how important it is and how to develop the relation, rather close it more.
It's one of the most important thing for a consultancy organization to make success. You see, normally consultants get job by doing a proposal and being the lowest, doing the negotiation. Normally, most of the clients these days are ruthless and they try to reduce the cost like that. This is one way of getting a job. But then once you get a client, have a good relationship, transparency, good communication, and build up the relationship slowly. Deliver a good engineering and be a little flexible because client also needs help sometimes. Let the client win don't try to defeat the client. Let the client win few cases. Means you accept absorb something and then build up the confidence. Then days will come when client will like you more than others. And if you can continue this relationship, days will come when client will give you variation order without having a written negotiation. Over the phone, they will tell you that, okay, I will give you this price and you get this job. This is your peak of client relationship. This is your peak of your
So
success.
you gain the confidence of client.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you hit that, you see, making a tender takes time for client. Many clients don't like to do tender. Rather, they like to give you a variation, whatever it is, and get the job done. Then he is saving at least 3, 4, 5, 6 months time. So there is a big opportunity in a project, is consultancy services, if you can generate variation. But then to generate variation, client-consultant relationship is the most.
How do you rank out of 10 the present engineering consultancy business in India?
See, engineering in India is one of the best, I would say. I'll say I have seen engineers from various countries, from US, from UK, of course, from all the Middle Eastern countries. But Indians are fairly good to that respect. Fairly good. Only thing, our work culture, our crunch of money, those things push us back. But engineering knowledge, engineering capacity, capacity to hard work, everywhere Indians are quite good. As such, in Middle East, 75% of the work is done by the Indians. So I don't see any problem in that. But then, what I feel that because of various reasons, because of various practices, and because of intelligent application by Europeans, Americans, and their practices, better practices, we are little behind them. So if you ask me to rank out of 10, it is somewhere 7.5 kind of ranking.
That's good.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Fair. Can you share some innovative ideas that helped your project?
Yes, of course. Every civil engineer has got those kind of opportunities. But yes, there are a couple of events where I really feel I got additional pleasure by doing that. One example was in Sri Lanka, I had to do a pump station within the sea. Of course, not in the middle of the sea, but it's close to the coast. But then it's within the sea, and the bed was hard rock. The contractor quoted for well sinking. It was almost impossible because you cannot create a copper dam there.
Yeah.
So I was the consultant, and contract was awarded already before I reached there. So the budget was fixed. So there was no solution. And then somehow I made some rough calculation and took a challenge that I will float a tank, steel tank, and I will build the pump station within the tank. But then once I build the tank, it will slowly sink. So I had to prepare a bed. So to prepare the bed, I used divers, and I put boulders first, and the spaces between boulder was filled with smaller boulders, then stone, 40 millimeter stone chips, and then on top of that, I used tremie and did a concrete. That is how I made the bed. Then that tank was floating. Then I calculated that if I cast the raft of this chamber, then the buoyancy force will not be enough to stop it sinking. So I left dowels, and then I built up the wall, and then my calculation was showing every 1.2 meter lift I cast, then it will sink for 600 millimeter. So that means, in other words, that every lift I cast, I gain 600 millimeters. Okay, so like that, I started building it, and the tank slowly went down, and when my concreting was over, I have to build up the building. Now I put the slab. It was still floating. So I pushed it and then placed it in the correct place, then filled up with water. So the tank sat at its place, and then it was simple to build up the building on top of that. Well, there was a couple of challenges that I had two opening creating that opening and removing the opening and all that was special challenge, but then those are longer stories. But overall, it was quite interesting. It came in Sri Lankan newspaper also that people are, well, I was doubted that it will sink and this project will go in vain and all that. I had to face all this criticism, but then finally it is still working. So that was one experience. Another interesting experience is in AKOYA in Dubai. I got a job of drainage design in Saudi Arabia. And it was almost 25% of the map of Saudi Arabia, the main trunk drainage system. And I had to create canals. It will take out the heavy storm water whenever it happens through this canal system. But the challenge was different. That I have roughly estimated, I have to produce about 16,000 drawings in the span of 6 months.
16,000?
16,000 drawings within a span of 6 months, because these are working drawings. The scale, minimum scale is like that. So I realized that unless I automate something, I generate something, manually it is not possible. And the problem in road alignment drawing or drainage drawing is that when you make a long section, you have chain edges.
Yeah.
And while developing, and they are continuous, one sheet to other. Then if you have a problem in one place or you make some editing in some stretch or your alignment changes, the whole drawings, whole stretch drawings are getting affected. So there was no way of doing it without having an automated system. Then after thinking, I put together heads, young guys from Dubai office, Abu Dhabi office, Portugal office, Oman office, Qatar office. I collected, I was there for 16 years, so I was knowing who has got what kind of specialty. So I put all my junior colleagues together and we had a meeting that I have this problem, and then how can we solve this? Can we produce something automated? Then of course the reaction was impossible. Then one guy from our Portugal office, who is engineer, but there are some engineers who doesn't work, who likes to play with computers. So one guy was there, I can remember his name was something Tiago. So he said that I can try. I said, okay, you are my friend. Then I started working with him. About 3 weeks or 4 weeks, he generated, I'm not a AutoCAD specialist, but it calls Dynamo. Maybe my AutoCAD friends knows all this. So he developed a Dynamo, and you give input for 40 minutes or say 1 hour, and then select any stretch. The whole bunch of drawing is ready. The Dynamo works like this. Not only that, since it is automated, I was surprised the level of accuracy. The canal has got railing both sides as per Saudi standards, and every railing post is 2 meters apart, and it has got 3 railings, 1 toe rail and then 3. In all the drawings, all the points, all the posts, all the sections are same. So
amazing.
These are innovative things that helps a lot.
Okay. How much the ISO standard helped in a project?
We, who has faced ISO standard to be maintained, we cursed, honestly speaking. Because honestly speaking, to maintain ISO standard properly, it takes so much of effort and time that sometimes we engineers don't get that much of time. But then, say in our office in Dubai, there are restrictions imposed that unless you do your squad checking, you cannot release a drawing, or there are so many. If you don't get this kind of form signed by such and such people, you cannot submit the drawing to the client, and all these problems comes. But then ISO certain things are really, really nice. For example, there is one of the form, it's called Project Briefing Note. PBN is one of those ISO standards. The project briefing note is something like this, that if you are a team leader, you write the project briefing note when you are starting the project, and this project briefing note will have the project brief, a picture. Not only that, it will have all the links where the guys, your team members, has to save the file, where they will get such and such document. When you create this, you should create it before the internal kickoff meeting. Say when you are explaining. Before that, you circulate the PBN, and then they go through. They just click the link and play a little bit with these links and find out where the files are. So you will find the reaction from the team is much, much better.
Okay.
Say, I will give you an example that I was the team lead for a project called Dubai Creek Harbour. Dubai Creek Harbour is one of the biggest developers, new development. It is Emaar. You might have heard Emaar has done the Burj Khalifa. And in this project, the next tower is coming. So it will be higher than Burj Khalifa. So you can understand the high end of this project. So Parsons, one American company, has done all the infrastructure design in that. And their peer review is one of the important things, that one consultant will design all the infrastructure and another consultant will be officially assigned to review all this design for its constructability, its cost benefit and all that. So we got this job and I was the lead for that. So you can understand that in a project like that, where Parsons has taken 2 years of design, and you name it, everything is there in infrastructure. You have roads, you have traffic study, you have structural design, you have bridges, you have tunnel, you have water, you have sewerage, everything. So I had to put together people of all the disciplines. I had around 32 engineers, lead engineer in every discipline with support engineers, and then start the work in day one, because I had 3 months time to review those whole design. The PBN is the document which has communicated to the full team that what he has to do. So this kind of, I gave you one example of ISO, but then there are few ISO standards which really makes project smooth.
Okay, Mr. Sovan, we are slowly coming to the end of our first session. So my next question will be, what will be your message to the engineers or young professionals who are interested to pursue consultancy job, either as an employee in a consultancy firm or as an individual consultant?
Well, the first thing is he should have inclination to learn.
Inclination to learn.
Learn, yes.
Of course.
The thing is, when I say that, everybody has got inclination to learn, but then it's not that. The thing is, many people wait that he is taught in the profession, that he is sitting, somebody has done the job, he will come and explain and do it like this. No. Inclination to learn means you trying to find out the way, how I can do it.
Yeah.
And then only you learn out of the box. Then there are many things you will come across. Don't take it that you cannot do it. Try. You will get. There are so many things nowadays. Google is like a god, and you get everything there. You get many things there. So that is number one. Number two, many people say that hard work. I don't say that. Hard work don't come easily. You cannot force yourself to do hard work. The thing is, once you like your work, you will see automatically the hard work is coming.
Yeah.
You cannot force yourself to do a hard work.
So you are indicating passion.
Yes. When passion and profession matches, then it comes automatically. So try to find out what exactly you like to do within your profession, and try to move towards that direction. Then you will see that you are enjoying your work. Third thing is, many times you will see that you will face problem. Say you have done design and client has made a comment, and you yourself realize that you made a mistake. Two things are there. Number one, be transparent. talk to your colleague, talk to your boss that you made a mistake. Don't hesitate in talking to anyone. Don't try to hide. Second thing is, don't rush to react. What happens when you have a problem, then it is on your head. You are unable to sleep.
Yeah.
Always you are concentrating to that. And then you trying to get rid of that as quick as possible. So you write a reply, write an excuse or something like that. Don't do that. Read the problem. Read what you have done. Try to go to the root, and you will definitely find you have not done that much of mistake what you are worried of.
Exactly.
It will automatically lower the scale of it. So these are the basic things. If you follow, you will enjoy your work.
Yeah, as you know, it's our new initiative to go with this channel, the Consultant's View. So, on the context, how do you see this initiative to make podcast with the consulting professionals like your stature, who achieved excellence in your respective profession? What initiatives should this channel take to fulfill its purpose and to enhance its outreach? It's for me, for my guidance.
Yes, I can understand. The thing is, nowadays people don't like to go to the seminar. Nowadays,
Is it?
I believe so.
Okay.
If you ask me to go to the seminar, well, I will possibly go to satisfy you, or will go only if it is very interesting for my profession. So seminar culture is going down slowly, I believe. I'm not very sure, but my feeling is so. I am considering to myself or my friends or something like that. Neither I get invitation for seminar these days too much. And also, for a long time, I have seen nobody reads the book issued with the
Yeah, that's
very, very rare. People like to see or hear. Podcast is something which people will like to see in their mobile, and people are very used to that. And if there is material which of interest for him, his profession, he will definitely go for this. This is number one. Number two is, for a seminar, you have to gather people, hire a place. But by podcast, you can reach with your message to many people very easily. So obviously, podcast is a positive thing, and it creates a library without any space. I mean, something like that. So these are the really positive side of the podcast, and it will help a lot down the line.
Thank you, Mr. Sovan. Here we come to the end of the first session with you. So, as a token of your participation.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I never expected that I will get a certificate also. Thank you very much.
It is from this channel.
Okay.
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 The Consultant's View.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well organized.